Hi, this is Leon at the computer room Nottingham. What we've got here is an iPad mini that needs repairing. It's got screen damage, as you can see up here. The main amount of damage is on this corner, and you can see, I hope, the corner that should be a nice curve is flat just there. So this is where most of the damage is going to come from. It's also going to be a bit of a challenge to get that sort of in the right shape again, so the new screen does go on and it's not a problem. All other corners are okay, there's no sort of dents or anything like that. The touchscreen itself does work fine, so with that it's pretty much just needing a new screen. So we're going to get a new screen in now, and yeah, this is how we ourselves we've got the screen coming off here, as you can see. Now, removing an iPad screen, whether it's a mini or a normal screen, with this amount of damage, it's never a pretty sight. But as you can see, the screen is just cracking more and more as the stress goes through it to be able to remove it. But we've got the top off, we've got both sides off, and we're down to about here at the moment. So yeah, we're going to get the rest off, and then we'll get the LCD screen out and make that safe while we make the changes to the iPad, and then we'll move on. Moving on then, we have the LCD screen up. This is the back of it here. We've just got the silver plate out. What we're going to do next is get this silver plate off as well. That's going to enable us to disconnect the LCD and the touchscreen as well. And then what we're going to do after that is tidy up the edges of the iPad, sort this corner out, and then we'll move on with the way the connector works for the touchscreen. Here we are then with the iPad. Now what we've done, we've got the screen off obviously, we've tidied up all the edges so they are ready for the adhesive to be put on when the screen gets stuck down. What we're doing next though, we need to have a look at this corner here, because as I said earlier, it is flat just there. Should be a nice curve like this, should be that shape. Now with it not being like that, it will not let the new glass screen go down. We could try to force it in, but that would break the new screen. So what we need to do is move this edge out so there's it sort of takes on the original shape and gives the glass screen the space it needs. So we're going to get that done now. We'll fit the new screen in just to make sure that it sits down flat all the way around the iPad. Then once we've done that, then we'll move on. Okay, then here we are. We've sorted this corner out. So we've got the touchscreen here, all looking good, ready to go. We've had to sort of fold out this edge. You can see it sort of protruding a little bit there. We'll try and sort of nudge that back in, but still allow the case to meet the edge of the screen. But now what we're going to do is sort out the solder issue with the way this flex cable works. Okay, so the flex cable, we've got it here. This is just a raw flex cable. There is this component here that needs soldering to it. It's a PCB assembly with the connector on that actually goes onto the main board. There's also some soldering here that needs to be done that comes from the home button circuit. What we need to do first is desolder this board. We're going to desolder it from this side. It will come away from the other side. We need to do similar with this here. And then yeah, we'll get things ready to solder onto these two flex cables and then get that done. We've got the PCB coming off quite happily, as you can see here. What we've done, we've put some flux on the solder joints, then put some solder on top of them to get things warmed up. We've then just put the solder tip here, moved it all the way down, and then gently peeled off everything up until the point that we're at now. We're just going to do exactly the same for the rest. And then that'll be the connector off. PCB off here, we've just got that done, as you can see. Now all the solder joints there are absolutely fine, they're all safe. They just need cleaning up, and then we're going to do exactly the same as we have to this, but to this joint just here, for the home button circuit. Once that's off, then we're going to reassemble the iPad. We've got the home button circuit off now. Now it's removed in the same way as we removed this, just heating from one end and pretty much just peeling it off. As soon as the solder gets to the right temperature, it just flows and melts, and we can just peel it off quite safely. This is quite a lot easier though, because as you can see, there's nowhere near as many solder pads as there are on this connector, but nevertheless it's off now. So what we're doing is reassembling the iPad. We're going to put these onto the new screen. We're going to add the home button as well, so that it's the whole assembly ready to go. And then yeah, we're done with the soldering. It's going on quite nicely. You can see that it's up at the moment there. It's not been soldered down. We've started soldering it down from this side, so we've got the first 3 pads in. Everything's lined up with these marks, or sort of holes, one there and one there, that have lined up with that small sort of square underneath, if you can see that. Also, there are round holes there that we've lined them up with as well. Absolutely fine. So what we're going to do next is just continue on with all these pads, make sure that everything's nice and solid. Then we'll turn the whole thing over, stick it all in place, so that will be that part of the circuit done. We'll then do exactly the same with the touchscreen flex cable, and that is the PCB is going on. As you can see just from this movement, it isn't soldered down completely yet. We've got 1 solder joint holding it down at this end. We've got 3 solder joints holding it sort of down on the front row of contacts, but now we're just going to go all the way through every single one, get all the solder to sort of do its thing to hold the connector on, and then that is that. Here we are. If you can see that there, we've got all the solder joints done. We're just cleaning this up. We've got all the tiny little solder pads all soldered down now. So really it's just reassembling the iPad, and that's pretty much it. Going back together now, as you can see, we've got the LCD screen in. We've just got 2 more screws to put in to hold the bottom part down. Then we are going to put the screen in place just to make sure that everything works okay, and then we'll move on. Here we are then, we are testing the iPad. Working absolutely fine. Now we've got set up to the passcode screen. We don't know the passcode. Don't particularly need to, I just need to know that the touchscreen works, and it does. Works absolutely fine, so that's really good to know. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to switch off again, put the adhesive around the edges of the iPad, stick the screen down, and we are done. Here we are then, we've got the adhesive stuck down for the screen to be stuck down sort of onto. So next we're just going to peel off all this backing, stick the screen down. Alright, here we are then. The screen is stuck down, absolutely fine, no problems at all. Touchscreen working as it should after the soldering that we did to desolder the old PCB off the screen and then solder the new one on. So that is it. Now if you've got your own iPad mini that suffered screen damage or anything like that, then please do give us a call or send us a message. As you can see, we can always help.